You're watching Sipping Off the Cuff on TequilaAficionado.com, also part of Tequila Aficionado Media. I'm Alex Perez in Southern California, Dodger Town.
Dodger Town. And I'm Mike Morales here in Texas Ranger Town, San Antonio. We don't have a baseball. We actually have a Double-A team called the Missions. I think they're
Missions Impossible.
the Missions. Yeah, they're
Mission Impossible.
we don't live very far from their stadium, as a matter of fact, and I think they're a Dodger minor league team. They're Double-A ball, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. Anyway, we've been drinking our way through the state of Texas with Republic Tequila. Republic. This is the extra Anejo. Look how dark that stuff is, man. That is some dark juice, Alex.
It is.
And now these are limited editions. I think
It's a nice looking bottle.
yeah,
I like the back. It's a whole label in the back.
yeah. That whole label in the back is
Kind of like
the
wood.
information you need. It feels like wood. It's got that. It's kind of a texture. Yeah.
Yeah.
They this is a limited edition, so there's like 8 barrels. Is that what?
So there's 8 barrels.
Okay.
So this is one of 8 barrels that they're aging them in.
Right.
So I've got barrel number 3.
See, they handed me this bottle, and I got barrel number 6. So, I mean, does that mean it's going to taste different?
Well, it's probably going to taste different. It's a different barrel. If we had the same barrel, it would taste the same, right?
I would imagine. I would say now this is bourbon. Okay, first of all, if you've never been to Texas, this is like the beginning of bourbon country. All right, from here on out, as you go over toward Florida, it's all bourbon all the time. And so it makes sense that they would rest this in bourbon barrels. As a matter of fact, Republic has its own whiskey now. The company, the umbrella company called Empresario, has joined forces with other companies in Texas, and they have now come out with the same Texas bottle, but it's whiskey. So it's Republic whiskey, and it's deep, it's dark, it's rich.
Look at that, Mike.
That's some beautiful color.
That's a beautiful color, yeah.
So it's 3 years at least. Well, it's at least 3 years. Now Alex is using his Glencairn. I'm using the Jarrito from Chisholm Trail Craft Glasses. This is something that we've been experimenting with off and on for this season of Sipping Off the Cuff. We are hoping this becomes.
You have a little base, Mike, on that?
No, actually, I don't.
Does that have a little base?
Nope, not at all. It's a flat surface. The reason for this is that Romeo Ristov, who is the owner of Chisholm Trail, wanted to develop a glassware that was archaeologically and historically more accurate toward agave spirits. And so it resembles the relics that you have found. See, the funny thing is, Romeo is an archaeologist by trade originally. So he's been on archaeological digs in Mesoamerica, Central America, Mexico, and he's familiar with the relics that they pull out. And in case anybody doesn't know, the stem and the handle are European inventions. So they're not necessarily, the relics that you find in Aztec or Mayan have no handles. So they're either the vessels are either clay with etchings in it, and they're straight, or they look like jarritos.
Nice.
And so what his attempt was to come up with something that was genuinely Mexico, just like Glencairn. You see a Glencairn, you just know it's whiskey. You know it belongs to that, and you shouldn't use anything else to nose a whiskey. So we're hoping that this will gain some sort of acceptance. This is the short version. I was using a longer necked version, and we'll see. He was working in conjunction with Stossel for for these prototypes. So this being a bourbon forward tequila, I'm going to try it with one of these and see what we come up with.
Nice. Well, love the color, Mike.
Yeah, me too.
Beautiful
Big fan
color.
of that color. That's a
Up my alley, up our alley.
Yep, that's a gorgeous color. Really nicely done.
Now the nose is up my alley too.
Well, see, you know, we talked about the Reposado. It really just let us down. But the Anejo starting to get that really decent nose. You know, after I think the Anejo is what 17 months in bourbon barrels.
Months, yeah.
And so this is 3 years, maybe more, in the same type of bourbon barrels, in 8 different bourbon barrels. That's it. So it's a limited edition.
So I've got barrel 3.
I got barrel 6.
Let's try it. Now the nose. What do you think of the nose?
The nose is even more amplified, very reminiscent of the Anejo, but at a much higher volume. And just to be safe, these are all 80 proof tequilas, so there's nothing at a higher proof.
Now this nose is much softer. I feel it's much softer
Than what? Than the Anejo?
than the Anejo. The Anejo
I think it's
in it.
deeper, richer, maybe.
Yeah, a little rich. Yeah, I got some cinnamon in the nose, which is a little spicy, and also on the palate. Here on the nose, I'm getting more of like dried fruit.
Well, I'm still getting that amplified, that noticeable mint, which we have defined as eucalyptus.
You know what? I'm getting a little bit of that, not too much.
Yeah, it's more of the wooden bourbon layer, that we're getting.
Yeah. Let's try it.
Let's try it. I get 2 different retronasals. On the retronasal, with my mouth closed, I'm getting the bourbon. I'm getting the wood notes, the barrels. It's almost like a tobacco or a leather on the back end, or a bitter chocolate, maybe. It's dry. I mean, it's supposed to be dry.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it is. It's the dryness. But when I aerate it in my mouth, I still get that minty, citrusy. It's weird. But I guess it's balanced at this point. It's not, I think I mentioned in a Reposado, I felt like it was clashing. In the Anejo, it felt more balanced, and this one they got it just about.
I think it's a true marriage here on this one.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, they were still getting to know each other.
Yeah. It's kind of a love-hate relationship, folks. Kind of like Dodgers and Giants, Cubs and Cardinals. Tell me you don't get that mintiness when you do that, when you
I do.
it in your mouth. Yeah, like that. Like a squirrel. Yeah.
Yeah, very reminiscent of bourbon, no?
Yeah, it is. It is. I enjoy it way better than it's be aware, folks. It does have a dry finish. If you're not used to the dryness, it may be off-putting. It's a dryness on the back end, followed by a little bit of bitterness. You might call it tobacco. You might call it bitter chocolate. But it is very bourbon forward. Okay, very reminiscent of bourbon. As I said, Republic has a whiskey now, so I'd imagine that their whiskey is even, twice as strong as this. I like this, Alex, for what it is. They did it. I know that for transparency's sake, to let you know, this is the distillery that they're making this is Distillería Leidos, which is the same company that makes this tequila, Viva 23, also Casa Dragones, which you and I have had before, and the best thing we said about Casa Dragones is that it was very food forward. So, and they also make this one, Don Fermin. This distillery is known because, for those of you who have been reading our material, they do use a diffuser. Alex is letting us know that we're using the word 1489, and there's, like I say, controversy about the diffusers in general. Some purists don't enjoy them. They're depending on the distillery that uses them, they may or may not be extracting the juice using acid. Some claim that they use nothing but hot water, and it's continuous column distillation, so it's supposed to be smooth, and so a juice like this should acquire some really great. If you have a hell of if you can manage barrels, you should have a hell of an aged tequila. And I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
But as Alex said, I think he pegged it. The Anejo is the star of the show, and this extra Anejo is not bad at all. If you're looking for something bourbon forward,
you get some smokiness in there too.
Well, that's what I said, but you're getting it on the nose. I got it on the palate.
You on the back end,
on the back end, not on the retro, but on the back end of the palate, the bitterness. I still get that sweetness. Like I say, I think that you pegged it. I think that is a eucalyptus. It's kind of a mint of some sort. See, now, down here, more wood notes, more barrel notes, now that it's opening up a little bit more. I mean, bourbons, by and large, are hot to begin with.
Yeah.
Some guys do bourbon and branch, bourbon and soda, bourbon and ice, just because a little bit of water will open it up. And so this may be one of those that if you're a whiskey drinker and you're trying to experiment to see what the thing with tequilas is all about, this is the one to merge into right here. So
I think it's well done.
Yeah, I do too. What do you think? Hold up in an old fashioned with the extra Anejo?
Definitely, yeah. A modified old fashioned. Because of the wood notes that it has in it, I think it will hold up. It's got a really good backbone, and it is. It's got a little spice in it too.
Yes.
Because I like doing my old fashions with rye.
Oh, okay.
A little spicy kick to it,
So this kind of covers the gamut. This will actually this will do the job.
Even in Anejo, I could venture into trying it with that.
Yeah. I think to me, you're right. The star of this show would be the Anejo, and then the extra Anejo, the limited edition. And you'll notice this is Tom Nall is the brand owner. The name of the company, the umbrella company is Impresario. You'll see he signed these bottles. These are
nice.
Yeah. So, except you got an earlier iteration, so they're very consistent, Alex. I think between one barrel and the other, the consistency is there. I think it's more balanced. The Repo was a clash.
Yeah.
But I think the Anejo and the extra Anejo, they salvaged the line.
I think so. And we always talk about old fashions. We can also try a modified Manhattan.
That was the other one. I was trying to remember which. I was trying to remember which other cocktail. This would probably do
that too.
Yeah, I would say that the Manhattan especially, but be aware this is a dry finish. This is a big boy drink, man.
Yeah, because I'm thinking Manhattan, you got the sweet Italian vermouth that you add to it. So you get two parts or 2 ounces of this, the extra Anejo by Republic. You eat 1 ounce of what am I saying?
Well,
Your red rouge, your Italian.
Okay.
Yeah. And your dashes of bitters. Stir it up, serve it in a cold cocktail glass, and then you get your.
That sounds good. So and this
This how you work.
this being an extra añejo, here's the thing, all of these, including the Plata for that matter, are probably, if you're going to cocktail anything, it's very rarely does an entire line lend itself to cocktails, but this one does. I think the entire line does.
And then Blanco, because of the citrus and the grapefruit on the back end, I think it'd be great on a margarita.
Well, Paloma.
Even a Paloma.
Yeah, and the Repo too. Actually, if you're not enamored by the flavor profile of the Repo, stick it in the Paloma or something, or even a margarita for that matter, and it would do the trick. Hey,
very good.
There you go. I think they have a very reputable line. Again, if it's something that if you're a whiskey or bourbon guy or gal, and you want to know what the big deal is on agave spirits, then this is probably the one you want to merge into, and then continue to experiment. So
yeah, guys. Now, what do you think of the packaging? You like the packaging?
I love it. Yeah, I've always loved this packaging. What do you think? Brand of promise in the packaging?
I'd like to nominate this particular one.
Okay.
If you will allow me that privilege.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I think the packaging.
I like the way, obviously the shape of the bottles, which is on the entire line. But I like how this one obviously, is differentiated by not only the color, but you got this image back here with the texture. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's very inviting.
Black label.
I think that this one here is the one you should. It's designed for you to reach, on the shelf and get it, because it really is very attractive, beautifully done, very very classy, great guys too. Tom Nall and the whole team at Empresario, wonderful people. So if you see it anywhere, especially in the state of Texas, go for it. And if you've had the whiskey, let me know what it tastes like, because I have not had it yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's our take on Republic Tequila. I am Mike Morales here in San Antonio.
I'm Alex Perez in Southern California. Let us know your feedback. Let us know what you have maybe created out of this. Maybe you got your own cocktail. You know what? I was looking for Carpano. That's what I was looking for.
Oh, Carpano. Okay.
Carpano vermouth is my favorite Italian.
Well, this would do well with that, wouldn't it?
It just elevates the cocktail. Junk in, junk out. So if you've got some good quality product, it's just going to elevate your cocktail. It's going to have a good drink. I don't mind making myself $15 drinks.
Yeah, especially if you're not paying for them.
Yeah, $15 drinks that cost me $5 to make. So as long as you're using good ingredients, those are $15, $18 cocktails.
Yeah, they are.
But Carpano vermouth, that's the name I was searching for.
Oh, okay.
So 2 ounces of whiskey or an extra añejo like this, an ounce of Carpano, 3 dashes of Angostura bitters. You stir it up in a nice iced glass, and then pour it out into a chill glass, and you're good to go.
Wow.
Stick a little cherry in there. Those bourbon cherries.
This is a rarity to have a cocktail forward entire line.
Yeah.
So, and especially something like an extra añejo, because most often you wouldn't attempt to do something like this with an extra añejo, but this one really does lend itself to that.
Sure.
Which is a plus. So even if lots of different ways to use it. So again, however you've made it, let us know down below if you're watching us on YouTube. Otherwise, if you're listening to us on iTunes, hey, subscribe. Either way, because you'll hear the dulcet tones of Alex Perez and Mike Morales.
We don't put you to sleep.
No, you were the original podcast guy, so you had that whole FM radio thing going for you.
Yeah, that was fun to do that.
It was. Now everybody's doing it. He was the first one, folks.
Thanks for watching. Keep watching. Keep listening. And like always, sip wisely.